What's up, gamers? How the heck are you? Welcome to another Hogwarts Legacy video. In this video, we are going to go over a few tips and tricks to help with your combat and spellcasting in this game to just make it feel a little bit more smooth and help you guys on your journey to becoming the greatest wizarding master that's ever existed. Hope you guys enjoy the video. All right, this first tip is going to be a pretty huge lifesaver. When you started playing Hogwarts Legacy, you probably found that the combat and fighting felt clunky. It didn't feel quite as smooth as you'd want it to, and you're really probably looking for a way to make that just a little bit better. Well, there's a few simple tricks that you can adjust in the settings in order to make things just a little bit better. Don't get me wrong, within time you will learn how to throw spells out there, cast charms, do all those wonderful things very fluidly, but adjusting these simple settings do help in the long run. All right. So what you're going to want to do is go to your menu screen, go to settings, go to the very first controller setting. This is your gameplay options. You're going to want to turn off, because this will be on, camera relative targeting. So by default, it's on. It selects active targets with the camera. So basically your camera has to be facing that target in order to select them. Well, that gets kind of iffy. So what you want to be able to do is select things off screen. So you have to have it like right in front of you in order to actually select it, which that sucks. So that means you won't target or hit anything that's next to you. That means it's harder to basically adjust, because the camera doesn't always like rotate as quickly as you want it to, or even if it did, we'll go to those settings in just a second, it still doesn't quite get there where you want it. So having this off has made it a lot better. Doesn't feel as clunky, and I feel a little more fluid as I'm combating and I'm fighting. So another thing you might want to adjust is your camera acceleration. I have mine at 2 or 1.24. You can throw it all the way to 1.5, or I think that's maxed. It doesn't really matter. I just adjusted it a little bit to see if I felt it. Basically, it fills the gap in as you're moving from you hitting your joystick over to the camera actually moving. It'll be a lot more fluid if you pump it up just a little bit. You don't have to go all the way, just a little bit. You don't have to copy these exact settings, but this has made a lot fluid for me. Your aiming, I bumped that up slightly, but honestly, I don't aim that much unless I just need to hit a very specific target that's kind of a little bit far away. Some of the puzzles, I felt like I needed to use this, but I don't think it's a necessary thing. It's just completely up to you if you want to feel, but this is where you can adjust your aiming acceleration. All right, and once you're done adjusting those little bit of settings and kind of getting the feel for it, everybody will be a little bit different. You're probably not going to have this issue if you're playing on PC. This is going to be mainly for console players, but you still can turn that off. The relative targeting to help with that a little bit. But once you have that, you can start firing away, and you should start feeling it. Don't get me wrong, if you don't, you can always come back and change these back, mess with them. But in my opinion, this has made combat a lot smoother and a lot more fluid, and I think it should help a lot of you out there. All right, guys, so for my next tip, this is just one that I feel like people probably will use at some point, but maybe don't see the benefits early on. I found it really helpful early on. So hopefully you guys took advantage of it too, or at least will take advantage of it. So this particular ability you won't be able to take advantage of until you play through the story at least probably a good, I would say, 6 hours or so. You want to at least move a little bit through the story, because you'll eventually be able to acquire talents. That's what you're trying to get to. So by the time you actually have the ability to use your talents, you'll have probably 8 or so to spend. I recommend when you do acquire your talents that you go into your core and you do at least use one of them, if not 2 of them, to acquire new spell sets. Now, new spell sets will allow you to set up different spell hot pouches, essentially. So you'll have your hotkeys set up for your spells. I have one that I use for just standard traveling, exploration, things that you need to manipulate the world for the most part. I also have a combat one that I have set up. So you could get away with just using 2 of these, but I also have one that I use for the room of requirement, just because I don't want to go in and switch out spells and stuff like that all the time. I like to have a little hotbar that I can just select and go in and move them around like that. But I also have ones that I like in certain areas. I like this for my combat because I like using all these spells in combat. So you really set it up how you like. Obviously, it's what you're comfortable with, but I would advise having just a standard exploration kind of feel and then a combat side. So it's completely up to you guys, but I recommend using this. It comes super handy in a lot of fights, and I kind of like just being able to explore, having the ability to use certain things like Lumos and stuff like that without having to go in there and change them out. But then also having the ability to, if somebody attacks me, switching right over into an attack mode, or I can start throwing out very offensive and defensive spells, helping you out a ton. All right, guys, that's the video. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys found any piece of this interesting or you're going to use it, please hit that like button below. If you guys didn't, I completely understand. If you guys want any more tips and tricks when it comes to Hogwarts Legacy, stick around. And if you like any other open world style games, survival style games, or horror games, consider subscribing to the channel. I love covering a wide variety of those games, and I hope to see you on the channel. So thank you guys so much for watching the video, and thank you for being here watching me. I'll lose my breath about that conversation. Anyway, I digress. Thank you guys so much, and as always, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.